Hello and welcome to another episode of The Chubby Chef. Today we're doing spaghetti sauce, a nice big batch. So to save a little bit of time, because it's a long process, I'm just going to show you what I've done and I'm going to explain. Here we have onion, celery, peppers already chopped up. I took some olives out. I got my tomato stuff out. I'm missing tomato sauce. That's on its way over. And I'm also missing some of the meat. I needed some ground pork because I do pork, beef, and veal. I've already done the beef and veal yesterday. That's what this is. So that's all going to come together. Now here are some of the spices that I'm going to be using. Really excited about this one. This came from Italy. It's for spaghetti sauce. It's like salt, garlic, pepperoncini, and prezzemolo. Not sure exactly what that is. You got some basil, some oregano, bay leaves, celery salt I use instead of regular salt. Gives it a little bit more flavor. Touch of cinnamon. It's a little trick. Not many people do it, but it's a little trick here. And of course pepper. So that's basically the ingredients that are going to go into this fabulous sauce. So the sauce itself is not that complicated. We've cut up our veggies, we've cooked our meat, we're going to add the spices. What really takes a long time with this is how long it simmers. It's going to simmer for hours until it's ready. So I'm going to get this process started. So here we go. Alright, we're back here now. I got the pork, but I got way too much. I only need 1 pound. So do yourself a favor, get a scale, because it's really going to help you. Because of my experience, I'm actually pretty good at eyeballing how much I'm going to need. It should be about that. Let's see how close I am. Not too bad, a little bit over. Still a little over. Okay, perfect. We got 1 pound of pork. As I mentioned, pork has a high fat content, so I'm heating a skillet, but you do not need oil. It's got enough of its own fat. So we're just going to throw that in. That should be ready to start sizzling. You'd like to hear that sound. And while doing that, you're going to go grab some oil, olive oil always. Nice. About 1.5 tablespoons there. I'm going to heat that up to medium-high heat. So, using a wooden spoon, you want to break down the pork. And it's important to flavor it. I use steak spice. It's got everything you need: salt, pepper, garlic. Good. And it's important to season it before it's cooked. You want the seasoning to cook into the pork. That's why you do it while it's doing that. Okay, so that's cooking down. Now this is it's hot. I can feel the heat. So in goes the onions, peppers, celery. You'll notice that I kept the sticks with the leaves. You're going to take those out after, but they're good for flavoring. Here you're going to want to add a little bit of salt. Not too much, because it's going to help bring the moisture out. There we go. I'm also using the same spoon for both the veggies and the pork. It's all going in the same place, but normally you would use a different utensil. In this case, it's not important. Okay, so these are now done. They're pretty much all heated up. Pork is done. Literally straight in. Now, I showed you earlier that I pre-made this meat yesterday, so I'm not going to put it in here cold. So I'm going to use the same frying pan that I used for the pork, just to give it a heat up. And the reason for that is that you don't want to add cold meat to this, because when we add all the tomato stuff, it's going to just bring it all the way down to temp, and then we're going to have to reheat the whole thing over again. So we're going to start by adding in some leftover diced tomatoes that I've left over from something else I made a couple days ago, along with leftover tomato sauce from the same thing. Just going to bring that up to temp again. Give that a nice stir, and I will be back. Now, as you can see here, I've opened up another can of diced tomatoes, a can of crushed tomatoes. Crushed tomatoes
very similar to tomato sauce. This was on sale, so that's what I did. So that's going to go in the whole can. I actually wish I had more, but we only had one left. And diced tomatoes, whole thing. Now, again, it's going to come down in temperature, but we'll bring it slowly back up again. At this point is when you add your optional things. In this case, I'm adding olives. I like olives in my sauce, not everybody does. And, oh yeah, I forgot to heat the garlic, so I'm going to do that separately on a different pan and get that in there, because that needs to be cooked. You don't want raw garlic in here, so that's my bad. But, alright, let's get that done. So it's actually only been about a minute and a half, and already it's bubbling. So that's the idea behind adding in hot things when you can, because the canned stuff is always cold, so it just makes the process go a little bit smoother. So let's give this a stir. You can see it doesn't look very meaty, but wait till that goes in. Okay, this is now nice and hot. It's sizzling. It's time for this to go into my pan. Hopefully I don't spill anything. May actually be a little bit too much, so let me figure that out. Okay, so I decided to add it all anyway. It is a bit too much, but I can thin it out with tomato juice, which I'm going to do once this has a chance to simmer a bit more. And the garlic that I forgot to saute earlier will go in as soon as that is done. Okay, now I'm ready to start seasoning it. So I've added a tablespoon of this. We're going to add some basil, oregano, bay leaf, celery salt, cinnamon, and pepper. Voila, so that's all mixed up. Just going to go in just like that. And that'll get a good mix. And then we'll check back in an hour, see how it tastes, if we need to add anything more. But keep in mind also, the longer it simmers, the more flavor you're going to get out of those spices. So, you know, you taste it now, you don't know if it's actually going to taste the same. So we'll come back in an hour and see if we need to add anything. Alright, this is the final product. Now, I forgot to mention something earlier. At some point while this is cooking, you need to add some sugar, because otherwise it's going to be very acidic. There's a lot of acid in tomatoes, so some sugar will cut it down. Not too much. You don't want it sweet, but you want it to not make it so like hard on the tongue. So, thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. And just because I promised I would, giving it a little taste here, so you guys know I'm not lying. Very hot. Should have let that cool a little bit more, but very good. Okay, thanks guys. See you next time.